Mom's ill, so I've come instead. Little girl entered the job interview. What the billionaire CEO did next was incredible. Hello. I'm so sorry. Pocket. Sarah's voice shuddered as she held the phone against her ear. Her breathing was shallow and rapid, a consequence of the fever raging through her fragile body. I'm in hospital. Pocket. I really want to come. I've been getting ready, but now I am. The other side of the voice was cold and flexible. We don't reschedule interviews. Pocket. If you don't show up at the scheduled time, your application is invalid. Thanks. Click. The line went dead. Sarah's "the line went dead" arm dropped to her side, as if all the strength had gone out of it. She looked up at the hospital room's white ceiling, the pale morning light filtering through the blinds. Her eyes blurred, but not from the fever. Her heart plunged deep into her chest. Gradually, Pocket, her eyes fell to the frayed leather bag pressed against her side, her lifeline. She pulled it in and opened it with shaking fingers. Inside was her resume, typed carefully and printed the previous night before, guarded in a transparent folder. A small, optimistic message she had written to herself lay on top. This is the beginning of something better. Silent tears streamed down her face. Please, she whispered, almost inaudible. Do not take this opportunity away from me. My daughter needs this. She deserves better. In the quiet corner of the room, curled up on a plastic hospital chair, sat a little girl, swinging her legs above the floor. Her name was Lily. She was 4 years old, with honey-colored hair and eyes as blue and bright as morning sky. She had seen her mother make sacrifices every single day, seen her come home late from the diner, worn out, only to sing lullabies at night, saw her repair their toaster with duct tape and a spoon, saw her go without dinner so Lily could have hers, and now Lily had seen her mother cry. She did not talk. She merely sat quietly, fists bunched on her lap, face solemn beyond her ears. When Sarah drifted off to sleep, finally exhausted by meds and fever, Pocket Lily stood on the chair, leaned forward, and softly swept a lock of hair from her mother's wet forehead. Then she climbed down. She crept to the bag. Pocket unzipped it carefully and removed the folder inside, the one that her mom had read every evening for a week. She gazed at it for a good long time. Then she turned, went to the coat rack, Pocket, and grabbed her favorite pink dress, the one with the small white bows on the sleeves. She slipped it on silently. Then, holding the giant folder in both hands, Pocket, she crept out of the hospital room and down the hall, past nurses and patients and the coffee machine that never functioned. Nobody saw her. Nobody forbade her. She made her way to the ground floor and out into the city morning. Cold wind blew against her tiny body, but she didn't wince. She knew where she had to go, Pocket. She had seen the building on the brochure. Her mother had stuck to the fridge. The city hustled past her, strangers moving too fast to see the little girl walking by herself. Determination in every step. She crossed streets with the confidence of a child who believed in her cause. She took the right bus because she remembered the number. Pocket, she held the folder tight against her chest as though it contained magic, as though it could change everything. 40 minutes later, Lily stood in front of a tall glass building, Pocket reaching up into the sky like they were out of a movie. The front says, Braden & Co., Global Solutions. She breathed deeply, then pushed open the door. The reception office in Braden & Co. was filled with the typical early morning buzz. Clicking footsteps on marble floors, hushed voices, elevator doors opening and closing. Pocket. Behind the front desk, Charlotte, the receptionist, was scanning her schedule for the day's interviews when a small shadow fell across the marble. She glanced up. A little girl, Pocket, no taller than the counter herself. She had on a soft pink dress with white bows at the shoulders, white socks bunched just above her shoes, and a small red clip keeping back a lock of honey blonde hair. Her blue eyes were wide with curiosity and completely serious. Charlotte blinked, Pocket, wondering if this was somebody's kid who had wandered off from a visitor. Sweetheart, she said slowly, leaning across the counter. Are you searching for somebody? The girl nodded, Pocket holding a folder that was almost as big as she was. I'm here for the job interview, she replied matter-of-factly. There was a silence. Pocket, Charlotte struggled to make sense of what she just overheard. Interview, she repeated, stunned. Yes, the girl replied once again, pushing the folder up higher. It's my mom's. Pocket, she's great, but she's ill today, so I came instead. Charlotte looked at her. A few employees around them slowed their steps, observing the scene develop with increasing interest. What is your name, darling? Lily. And your mother's name? Sarah Parker. Charlotte scanned her list quickly. There it was. Sarah Parker, 900. I am the final candidate for the morning. Pocket. She paused. Okay. One moment, Lily. One moment, Lily. She pressed her earpiece. Lena, would you please tell Mr. Braden that he must come down? It's regarding the last interview. Just say it's urgent. Very. Upstairs in the glass-encased all-metal executive suit with a view of the skyline, Albert Braden sat by himself at his desk, 32 years old. Pocket impeccably neatly dressed in a well-tailored navy suit. He was rumored to be brilliant, a beast in business, and as emotionally unavailable as he was successful. Pocket, he had forged his company from the ground up, and in the process lost interest in small chat, holidays, and anything that qualified as family. He had scoffed at most interview days as going through the motions exercises in disappointment, until his assistant came to the door, a brief flash of a smile playing at her mouth. Albert, you ought to take this in person. He cocked an eyebrow. Is it the Harvard graduate or the former Google manager? Neither, she said. It is quite special. Could just come downstairs. Albert groaned, got up, rearranged his watch, and went downstairs. When the doors of the elevator opened, Pocket, he was confronted with a vision so improbable that he halted in his tracks. There she was, hardly taller than a fire hydrant. Pocket standing in the center of the lobby as if she were the proprietor. Lily. The instant she spotted him, her face brightened. You're the boss, she chirped. Albert blinked. Yes, I am. Pocket, I'm here to present to you my mom's paper, she stated, proceeding directly up to him. She's ill, but she desperately wants this job, and I believe she is deserving of it. She extended the folder to him with both her hands. It was dirty, the corner creased, but he accepted it. The room fell silent. There were dozens of people holding their breath. Albert regarded her for a considerable second. Next, for the first time in years, the corners of his lips curled up, barely, but enough to be real. He shifted to Charlotte. Clear my schedule for the next 15 minutes. Charlotte blinked. Sir, I am conducting an interview. He turned again to Lily and motioned toward the hallway. Shall we? She grinned and nodded. Pocket inside the resume conference room, Albert yanked out a chair for her, 2 sizes too big, but she scrambled up with practiced ease, putting her feet on the bar below. Albert sat across from her and opened the folder, reading the resume while glancing at her sporadically. So, Lily, he adjusted his voice. Pocket, tell me why your mother wishes to work here. Lily hunched forward a little, with hands resting on the edge of the table. Her words were crisp, unrehearsed, simply truthful. Mama works very hard, she said. She doesn't buy herself anything. She always saves for me. She wants a job that doesn't involve just cleaning and waiting tables. Pocket, she wants to use her brain again, she said. Albert gazed at her still. She attended college, but she had to leave. Lily continued, because she had me. He slowly blinked. Pocket, his jaw clenched. And you think she would do well here? Lily smiled eagerly. She's super smart and nice. She always assists people. Albert glared at the resume once more. Pocket, this time reading each line more intently. Then he looked again at the girl. And why did you arrive here today, Lily? She smiled. Pocket. Because Mama was very sad when she hung up the telephone. She said she wanted to provide me with a better life, so I came to assist. Albert leaned back a little bit. His face softened. Not a lot, but enough for anybody who knew him to understand that something deep had simply shifted. He produced a small, true smile. Well, he said, closing the folder softly. Let us proceed with the interview. Albert sat across from the table, hands loosely folded over Sarah's resume, although he had ceased reading it. Pocket. His attention was focused on the little girl sitting across from him, posture erect, feet swinging, eyes shining and unflinching. He addressed her in an uncommon softness. Can you tell me, he asked, what your mom is like? Lily's hands were tucked into her lap. She blinked considering, and then stated with soft assurance. Mama works all day, all the time. He leaned his head slightly to one side. What sort of work? She cleans houses, and sometimes she waits tables. Pocket, sometimes she takes food to people's doors. She never gets to sit down much. Albert slightly frowned, nodding for her to go on. She never buys anything for herself, Lily said. Pocket. Even when her shoes are full of holes. She says, no, these are still good. And then she purchases new ones for me instead. Albert looked down at the girl's feet. Pocket, white sneakers with glittery stars on the sides. New clean. It made sense now. Albert's breath always puts me first, Lily said, and her little voice softened. Every time. Pocket, there was a moment of silence in the room. City noise was dampened by the heavy windows. Within that silence, Albert felt a stirring within his chest. Something that had lain dormant for too long. Did your mother go to college? He asked softly. Lily nodded. She did. She says she loved to learn, but she did not get a chance to finish. Pocket, she had me. Albert's breath caught in his throat. He leaned back a little in his chair, eyes still fixed on her. She said me, Lily went on, that she didn't regret it. Pocket, she says I'm her favorite reason to quit anything. That sentence, so innocent, so full of devotion and selflessness, hit with the impact of truth. Albert shut the folder. Pocket, he could picture it. A young woman, smart, driven, full of promise, and then suddenly utterly isolated, no family support, no husband, a child. And rather than flee, she decided to remain to construct a life around that child, even if it meant cleaning floors, serving tables, skipping meals. That type of fortitude was not found on resumes. Pocket. And what do you want for your mom? He asked, his tone low. Lily cocked her head, deliberating. I want her to be happy, she said. She's always fatigued, Pocket. But she smiles when we watch cartoons or when I draw pictures for her. I believe that she just needs a break. She stopped, then looked up at him with an ocean-wide, blue gaze. Mama doesn't need much money, she said in a serious tone. She just wants to have a job that allows her to buy ice cream every weekend. Albert was paralyzed. Something about so plain, so heartbreaking innocent, cracked a part of his well-protected exterior. She said once to me, Lily whispered, Pocket, that she would be the happiest woman in the world if she could just offer me that little bit of ice cream. Every Saturday, he gulped down hard. For a second, he forgot to breathe. Pocket, the silence between them was heavy now, not uncomfortable, but odd. Albert's words, Lily shifted in her chair, legs swinging again. Albert finally leaned forward. Pocket, placing the folder gently on the table. Lily, he said softly. You know, I have interviewed a lot of people in this room. She looked at him curiously. But no one has ever said something that mattered quite like that. She smiled, unsure what he meant, but sensing it was something good. I believe, he said slowly, selecting his words with caution. Your mother could be just the sort of individual we're looking for. Lily's face brightened. Really? Albert nodded. Really? Then, Pocket, for reasons he could not even account for to himself, he went on. And I do know an establishment that serves very fine ice cream. She smiled. Mama would approve of that. He smiled just a little bit wider now. A real genuine smile, one that extended all the way to his eyes. For an instant, he allowed himself to dream it. Sarah sitting across from him, not out of desperation, but out of dignity. Lily beside her laughing. A life not built upon sacrifice, but one where someone finally showed up for them. He stood up, went to the door, and summoned his secretary. Please check which hospital Sarah Parker was hospitalized in yesterday. He spoke quietly. Pocket. Send flowers and something for a little girl. Find out if she can be available for an official interview after she recovers. Then he gazed at Lily, who now stood proudly next to the chair, fold her in hand again. Thanks for coming today, he said. You did a very courageous thing. She shrugged light-heartedly. But Mama says I'm always brave. Albert held the door open for her. She's right. Albert sat alone in his office, the folder still lying on his desk. The room was quiet now. Sunlight seeping across the floor through wall-to-ceiling windows. Outside, the city hummed along its normal route. But within, something had changed. He opened the folder once more. Pocket, not from duty but from real interest. Sarah Parker. Her name was Sarah Parker's resume, typed neatly at the top of the page. Below it, a tight and well-organized resume spread out. A history not of voluminous titles or high-powered positions, but of potential and determination. Academic accomplishments, first full scholarship to a good school. Honors in first year. Pocket, president of Student Marketing Club. Peer mentor. Her GPA was excellent and professors had left glowing recommendations. Then a gap of sudden disappearance, no degree earned, no internships. Instead, the next part started with a series of part-time jobs: waitress, housekeeper, delivery driver, late-night janitor. The kinds of jobs no one bragged about. Pocket the kinds of jobs that put a roof over a baby's head. Albert read slowly, taking in each detail, each decision. At the bottom of the resume, below the final line of experience, a small handwritten message caught his notice. It was in soft ink, tilted slightly. Not grand, not pleading, I am not seeking sympathy. I am merely asking for a genuine chance. He looked at those words. They told him more than any cover letter ever could. Albert sat back in his chair and gazed out the window, pensive. He had founded his business on Albert's gift: reason, information, quantifiable outcomes. But there was something about this, about her, that cut through all of that. Not because he pitied her, but because he respected her. He noticed the sort of toughness that never appeared in standard interviews. The sort of resilience that was not born of ambition but of need. The sort of inner strength that formed not only employees but leaders. He pushed the intercom. Charlotte, yes, sir. If I have a delivery to send to City General Hospital. A pause. Yes, what shall we give? Albert rose, went over to his bookcase, and produced a tiny gift box he had once intended to present to a fellow who had had a baby. He never got around to using it. And have the florist on the ground floor arrange something straightforward. Not too much, just something nice. Charlotte hesitated. To whom do we send it? He pondered for a moment, but then spoke low-voiced. Sarah Parker. And what does it say? Albert looked back at the resume, then responded, To the strongest woman I have not yet met. The morning sunlight. The morning sun filtered through the hospital blinds, warm on Sarah's pale cheeks. Her head hurt dully, and her limbs remained heavy from fever. But something was different. The room in the room contained a curious, almost delicate peace. She turned, slowed, and gazed at it. A handful of wildflowers in delicate pastel colors on the bedside table. Beside that lay a tidy little box wrapped in plain cream paper with a satin bow. A note leaned against the flowers. Puzzled, Sarah picked it up. To the strongest woman, with shaking fingers. To the strongest woman I have not yet met. Her heart skipped. She sat upright, blinking in shock. It was to her. Gingerly, she opened the box to discover a small box of chocolate milk and a card written in handwriting. Nothing flashy, but impossibly considerate. Lily. Her stomach fell. She felt for her phone with panic knotting in her chest. She had not been strong enough to remain awake last night. What had her daughter done? Fumbling, She tried the company's number on the printout she had retained in her bag. A gentle feminine voice answered, Bain & Co., this is Charlotte speaking. Hi. Hello. This is Sarah Parker, she said, her voice calm. I believe there has been a misunderstanding. My daughter, she's only 4. I believe she might have visited your office yesterday with my resume. I'm so sorry, she didn't mean any harm. The woman smiled softly on the other end. Miss Parker, no need to worry. In fact, your daughter may be the bravest individual to ever enter our lobby. Our CEO was impressed. Sarah stiffened. Your CEO? Yes. Charlotte smiled warmly. He'd like to meet you officially this time. If you're well enough, he's free this afternoon. Sarah's breath caught. Are you certain? We are certain. That afternoon. Sarah emerged from a cab in front of the imposing Braden & Co. building. She gripped her bag tightly, her legs still shaky, her cheeks still flushed from the residual fever. She had dressed in a plain blue mule blouse and skirt, not her finest but clean. Her blonde hair was pulled back. She attempted to calm her nerves, but her heart pounded steadily in her chest. Within the lobby, the receptionist addressed her in friendly tones. Miss Parker, welcome back, Charlotte said pleasantly. Is expecting you. Sarah walked behind her through a series of inanimate hallways and into an elevator. The silence within the lift was full of all the types of fear and hope she had brought with her for years. When the doors opened onto the top floor, Charlotte moved aside. He's in there. Sarah nodded and entered. The office was large and up to date, full of natural light. Against the big glass desk beside the window stood a dark-haired man with a look of calm precision. Albert Braden. He glanced up and smiled. A true smile, not courteous, not obligatory. "Miss Parker," he said, taking a step forward. "I'm relieved you're getting better." Pocket Sarah's eyes opened in surprise. She was suddenly extremely small in the room, conscious of her flushed face and shaking hands. "Thank you. I'm so sorry about my daughter." Albert held up his hand, halting her softly. "There's nothing to be sorry about," he said. "She delivered one of the most effective presentations I've ever seen." Sarah flinched. "Pocket." He indicated the chair in front of his desk. "Have a seat." She sat ankles crossed, bag on her lap like a shield. Albert sat too, and for a minute he just looked at her. "You know, Pocket," he said, drumming on the folder on his desk, "I have read thousands of RA summaes, but yours arrived with the outstanding letter of recommendation I've ever had." Sarah's lips parted slightly. Her heart pounded. Albert smiled once more, softer this time. "She believes in you more than anyone I've ever met believes in anything." Sarah dropped her eyes for a moment, Pocket, the heat rising to her cheeks. She's my whole world." "I can see," Albert replied. "Which is why I would very much like to see what you can do here." Sarah's eyes looked up, Pocket, hope shining bright in them. Sarah's first day at Braden & Co. was like the first day entering another world. The glass walls, the never-ending clicking of heels, Pocket, the soft buzz of productivity. It was all she had ever fantasized about, and all she thought she might never qualify for. Albert gave her a junior project assistant position. Pocket, she had been hoping for an internship, perhaps a test run of shredding papers, but this was the real thing. The staff was friendly but reserved. Her attire was simple, Pocket. Her shoes slightly worn. She seemed different, sounded different, and many of her fellow workers knew, without having to ask, that she was the one with the baby. Some murmured that she had been hired out of sympathy. Others just avoided her. But Sarah didn't blink. She arrived early, left late, took notes, questioned. She absorbed every training film, read every company document, observed how the senior assistants moved, organized, followed up. Pocket, her fingers danced on the keyboard, as if she had never been away from school. And when she erred, and she did, she took responsibility for them, corrected them, and never made them again. Pocket, gradually the tone changed. Someone asked her to assist in repairing a slide deck. Another asked if she could arrange a meeting calendar. And someone said thank you and meant it. But one person never doubted her, Albert. He never hovered, never micromanaged. But he observed closely. And whenever Sarah's name was mentioned in meetings, he would lean forward and ask what she had contributed, how her ideas were received. He noticed everything. Like when Lily had a fever and Sarah called in that she might be a little late, Pocket, Albert sent her a private message. "Family comes first, take your time." Or the afternoon when he saw her skipping lunch and had his assistant bring an extra sandwich to the break room by accident. Or how he insisted she sit at the table. Pocket, not in the back of the room during project reviews. He never said anything overtly, but she knew. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah started to believe again in her own worth. Pocket, one evening, well past the time the rest of the office had been darkened, Sarah sat at her desk making final edits on a presentation for a major client. The hum of the city lights glowed softly through the windows. Her eyes were exhausted, fingers numb, but she felt something unusual, satisfaction. She did not hear Albert come up until he talked. "You put in more effort than most employees who have been here for 10 years. Albert's approach peered up in surprise, then smiled. "Pocket, I guess I've got 10 years to get up to speed." He motions to the chair next to her desk. "May I?" She gestured for him to sit. They sat there for a moment. Pocket, two individuals surrounded by silence. It sounded like the hum of the city far below. Then Sarah spoke, her voice low. "You know, I never knew I'd be in a spot like this." Pocket, Albert stared at her with curiosity. "Why not?" She paused. "I was in college," she spoke slowly. "Majoring in marketing. I loved it, I had plans. Internships all set up." Then she breathed. "Pocket, I met someone. Thought he was the best. Got pregnant my first year." Albert's face didn't change, but his eyes softened. "I thought we'd work it out, that we'd do it together. But he left." Pocket vanished. She hesitated once more. "My parents told me I had destroyed everything, that I had shamed them. They said I must give the baby away or leave." Albert remained still. "Pocket left," she said quietly. "And I never returned." She stared down at her hands, turning them slowly. I chose Lily. I chose to be her mother. But I had to release everything else. Pocket the degree, the apartment, the future I thought I'd built. Albert leaned across the desk, covering her hand with his. She hindered, anticipating sympathy or worse, pity. But his tone was level. I was left too. She looked up. I was 10, he went on. My parents were killed in a car accident. No siblings, no extended family who desired a kid. Pocket, I bounced between houses, learned to live. I constructed this business because I wanted to be in charge of my own life. But I never had what you do. What's what? She breathed softly. Pocket, courage, he replied. You took love, Sarah, even when it took everything from you. Her eyes welled up with tears. I used to believe I was weak, she whispered. You are anything but. They sat there, something changed in silence once more, having nothing further to say. In the silence, something shifted. Respect grew deeper. Pocket walls became less tangible, and two individuals long accustomed to getting through on their own began to experience the strange ease of being heard. Months went by and Sarah's world gradually evolved. She had matured into her position with poise and determination. Coworkers who previously ignored her now solicited her advice. Pocket, she was no longer just the assistant. She was now the one who picked up errors, provided quiet solutions, and produced results with consistency and care. Her name commanded respect, Pocket, and it was said with reverence. Albert saw it all happen. He did not need to keep track of her anymore. Her work told the story, but he still looked for reasons to drop by. Little excuses. Pocket questions he knew answers to, and when he passed by his eyes would linger, just a fraction too long on her desk. It wasn't Sarah alone that he had become fond of. It was Lily. Pocket Lily came to the office each Friday afternoon, after press school, skipping down the hallway as if she owned the place. She sat on Albert's office couch with coloring books, Pocket, little shoes tapping as she waited for Uncle Albert to get off the phone. Sometimes he called his final meeting of the day, just to take her out for a milkshake. They had their traditions. Pocket, she called him boss man when she needed his focus. He called her the actual CEO. At corporate picnics, she rode on his shoulders. In the break room, she always kept him the last cookie. Pocket Sarah witnessed all of it, and each second made her heart full and more terrorized. She had loved secretly so long, hidden her dreams under nuts and bolts. Pocket, now love was in her face every day, and it was grinning, carrying her daughter on its shoulders. One night, the three of them sat in Albert's office after business hours. Pocket Lily was nestled in the corner with a juice box, humming as she colored in a sketch pad. Sarah and Albert were wrapping up a project summary. They laughed easily with each other. Pocket, the sort of laughter that existed between the people who had viewed each other's wounds and decided to remain anyway. After they finished, Sarah pushed back, extending. She's wary, she explained, looking at Lily. Albert did look over. We can move her down. Sarah smiled, then stood. Let me pick up her bag. Turning away from them, she heard Lily's little voice over her shoulder. Mommy. Sarah turned. May I call Uncle Albert Daddy? The room went utterly still. Albert's body froze. Sarah gazed. Pocket, the bag slipping ever so gently from her fingers. Lily looked up, innocent and genuine, because he always scoops me up and buys me ice, and he reads to me like you do. Pocket. And he makes you smile. Sarah's eyes filled in that instant, her breath stuck in her throat. Not with shock, but with uncertainty, for deep within she had already known. She had known from the way Albert gazed at Lily, as if she was important. From how he talked to Sarah as if she were home, from the silent shelter in the places between them. This man, Pocket, who had once constructed barriers of steel to encircle himself, had opened to let them in, and somehow along the way, they had constructed something no one had anticipated. Family. She knelt before Lily, words gentle and shaking. You can name him whatever comes naturally to you, baby. Then she turned to Albert, dreading what she would see on his face. But he was already coming towards them. He stooped down beside them both, eyes soft. He gazed at Lily, then Sarah. I would be honored, he said. Sarah erupted. Tears flowed freely now. Pocket. Not of fear or even relief, but of something much deeper. Belonging. Sarah Parker. A year later, Sarah Parker was no longer merely the anxious young mom who had come into Braden & Co. With nothing more than hope and a resume, she was now Sarah Parker, project team lead. Self-assured and poised, she led meetings, directed junior personnel, Pocket, and received compliments from all sides of the company. Her name appeared on success reports and in the all-important conversations, and always in close proximity. Pocket quietly and perpetually was Albert. Initially, their relationship was clandestine, not out of shame but respect for their positions for the company and for each other. However, Pocket, as weeks passed into months, it became impossible to conceal. Albert took Lily her favorite pastries on Monday mornings. Sarah alone was permitted to interrupt his meetings. Pocket, and the way their eyes locked across the room spoke volumes no one needed spoken. It was never office gossip. It was something authentic, something people quietly prayed for. Pocket Sarah gained the respect of her team, not only for her work ethic, but for her niceness. She knew birthdays, assisted with late-night projects, and remembered being forgotten. Lily, also, had become part of the fabric of the company. She had her own chair in the break room, a crayon drawer in the supply cabinet, and a fan base consisting of executives and interns. She once greeted the quarterly meeting with a bright, "Good morning, team," and no one ever forgot. To many, she was the company princess. To Albert Pocket, she was just his daughter. On the evening of the annual Christmas ball, the ballroom glittered with soft gold and forest green. Fairy lights draped over velvet-covered tables. Music swirled, laughter burst forth, and champagne bubbled. Sarah stood beside the majestic tree in a blue gown, shining with soft grace. Her blonde hair shimmered. Pocket, her smile serene and confident. Lily spun close by in white, silver shoes flashing under her as she laughed and danced. Albert had been drinking just a few feet away, black tie clad. Pocket, watching them both. His smile was not the same now, warm, open, full of contentment. He used to keep himself separate from these things. Tonight he remained close, not for affectation, Pocket, but for love. Someone later tapped a glass. The room fell silent. Albert moved forward. "I know that this is that time of year when we typically discuss numbers, growth, and objectives,